We are here at the Comenge winery. These are the Comenge, one of the estates we have. We have 16 hectares of vineyards surrounding our winery, and the rest of the estates are scattered around the region of Ribera del Duero. Ribera del Duero is one of the most prestigious regions for winemaking in Spain. Wine has been made in this region since the Roman Empire, so there's a bit of a tradition here for thousands of years. Absolutely. The weather conditions here in Ribera del Duero are very extreme. We have very cold winters, and then the summers are we have very warm day temperatures, and then the temperatures drop during the night, so we have the contrast that you have a warm day and a cold night, which make it good for the maturity of the grapes. We also have very high risk of frosts during the beginning of the summer and the end of the summer, which make it very difficult and makes it very difficult to grow grapes here in this region.
I see.
The soils in this region are very limey soils, calcium rich. The origin of the soils is the degrading of the limestone originated by the River Duero, which is the river that gives names to this region.
Well, we have a very special plantation system because we have a very high density of plantation. We have around 4,000 plants per hectare, and we use a very high trellising system. It is perfect in order to expose the leaf and expose the branches, and it's very important in order to obtain a good maturity of the grapes.
Yes, I have to say that the typical plantation system in Ribera del Duero years ago was usually bush vines. Trellising systems were introduced a few years ago, but they were very low trellising systems. We were the first to introduce this high trellising system, as Rafa explained, to get as much sun exposure and airflow to the clusters as possible.
We only use organic farming in order to respect the environment, and because it's a good practice to obtain a good grape. We don't use anything of pesticides, herbicide with
weed killers,
etc. It's a natural growth.
We enhance weeds to grow in between the rows to subtract most of the vigor of the variety, which we mentioned before is Tempranillo.
It's key in order to obtain a quality wine. You have healthy and mature grapes.
This might sound really obvious, but I can assure that in many cases it's not really what is happening. The use of mature and healthy grapes.
Why is that?
Because sometimes yield is favored against the quality, and in order to obtain higher productions, you don't get as much maturation as you would expect. Well, in this region, wine has been made since the Roman Empire. There's a long history of winemaking here. If you look at the hillsides of this region, you'll find lots of little caves, which were caves where wine was stored and produced. Each person living here had their own production for their own personal consumption. That is still the case. They still produce wine for their own personal consumption here. Originally, the vineyards were planted in the soils that were not suitable for other crops like cereals and so on, and therefore they were the most poor soils. Now it's become a more extended thing and has taken some advantage over the cereal plantations.